Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about primes. We're going to be talking about free-to-play grindable primes. Really excited to do this. We're going to be talking specifically about the Dolomide particles. We're going to be talking about how to source them, what researches to do, and also what sort of priority I think that you should go through those Dolomide researches in. I do want to stress that at the moment that we have just launched a brand new podcast series and I would really appreciate everybody going to check it out. It is called Brits and Yanks Talk Trek. The link to that is down in the description of this video. Please go and check it out, download it, share it out with your friends. But we're going to talk about Dolomide. I'm going to tell you where I think you should spend it, how you can acquire it, how quickly can you actually unlock a prime. I've got a couple of little spreadsheets to show you as well. So let's dive straight in and talk about how we're going to grind out free-to-play primes. So we are going to talk about primes, and we are going to start off with a sheet created by our very own USS Silvers. Silvers, thank you so much for making this, mate. I really appreciate it. It's a fantastic sheet telling you what every single prime is, how you access it, what ops you can access it, what it does, everything. You can go through all the different research trees at the bottom. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go right to the end of this sheet and we're going to go to the summary section. And the summary section allows us to work through, and we're going to scroll down until we get to the Dolomide particle section, which is right here, showing us what you can actually unlock with Dolomide particles. Now, what do Dolomide particles look like? Well, let's take a look. So if you go into your items and you go into your materials tab, scroll down. They are not too far from the bottom, but if you keep going, there we go. So prime Dolomide particles, this is what they look like, and this is what we are going to specifically be looking at today. We'll talk about all the different primes that this unlocks. This was a currency that was released during 2023, and I think it's a really important thing for us to really focus on and for you to understand why you should be prioritizing these. Now, when we go back to Silvers' sheet and we look at the researches that are available from this, isolytic damage boost, increasing your isolytic output. Isolytic defense boost is obviously your isolytic defense as well. We've got the costs down the side. Now, some of them look more expensive than others, but some of these are multi-tiered primes. The ones that are multi-tiered, you can see they've got here like levels 1 to 2, levels 1 to 10 in the prime efficient ship parts and prime efficient ship engineering, and a total cost for all 10 of those levels of 7,740. Obviously, you can see which tree that they are specifically in as well. And what we're going to do is we are actually going to rank these. We're going to rank these in terms of their effectiveness. But first of all, we need to talk about how to source these and how fast do you source these. Now, there are three main methods to sourcing Dolomide. Now, the first one is a one and done, and that is once you unlock your Voyager. Now, Voyager was vastly improved on this sense because they reduced the requirements for the field training. So when you go into your Voyager refinery, so your Voyager field training, you can see at the right-hand side here, there are 3 milestones that you need to complete, and they unlock that precious Dolomide particle. You can see the picture of it there. And this one thing, the field training, grants by all 3 milestones 1,200 particles in total, 400 per milestone. Now, 1,200 is going to become a very key number when we're talking about Dolomide and the research levels. But obviously, this isn't a sourcing. I'm not calling this sourcing because this is once you've done it, it's gone. You can't go back and repeat it to get even more. It's just a one-off acquisition of the Dolomide particles. Still very, very nice, and do not neglect it. What was changed, they reduced the commerce insignia requirements from needing to refine 100,000, which was an astronomical amount that was needed, down to just 15,000, which can be done very, very much quicker. Well, it's a sixth of the time that it used to be, somewhere in that sort of region. It's a huge difference. I bet you could do it if you refine them well. I bet you could do that in 6 months or so, which I don't think is too bad from first unlocking the Voyager. Now, the other 2 methods of sourcing it are all in your faction stores. So if you go to your faction store, the first one we're going to talk about is section 13. 31. So Section 31, you're able to exchange your Section 31 credits, which are these little beauties up here, which are only obtained from completing Wave Defense and participating in the Wave Defense Battle Pass. So you can exchange your Section 31 credits, and you can see here Prime Dolomide particles cost you 700 regardless of rep level, regardless of ops level. It's 700 for 10 Dolomide particles. I remember you saying, Lube, you said it's going to cost 1200 for a research. That's ridiculous. Hold my beer, because they have added when in the X-Borg, when the X-Borg was expanded, they have added new mega chests. Now, mega chests are graded, so you've got a grade 4, a grade 5, and a grade 6. So depending on your ops level will determine as to which of these chests you actually see. So obviously you won't be able to see the 5 and 6 if you're only a G4 player. Makes sense. Now, these also provide Dolomide particles. So you can see here the G4 chest pays 20. You can see that the G5 chest pays 30. And the G6 chest actually pays 40. Now, you do have the option of double pulling this, obviously doubling the output of the refinery. I'm telling you now, that's a very expensive way to spend your credits until you have completed all of your X-Borg favors. And there are so many X-Borg favors. And again, this method, I am going to say it is going to be akin to you unlocking your NX01. So to get into this free prime loop, there's a couple of things. It's going to be the Voyager. That's one thing to work on, but also making sure that you are claiming your NX01 blueprints if you've not already unlocked it, because what this does is this accelerates your acquisition of X-Borg credits of all rarities from common all the way through to epic exponentially. So please, please, please make sure that if you are not already unlocked the NX01 and you've just been ignoring it, it's dirt cheap. It costs nothing. It only costs the uncommon credits. So it's absolutely insanely good value. It does take a while. So if you haven't started, start now, and it will help you get into this loop and make you a much better player. Next, so we've got this fantastic acquisition from the mega chests, but obviously you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm only a G4 player. How quickly can I actually unlock a prime? Well, I have put together one of my horrendously crude spreadsheets, which I'm going to show you now. Here we have it. This is my Dolomide Calculator. It's very crude. You can tell I've made it. Don't shoot me down for it. If anybody wants a copy of it, by all means, just PM me on Discord. If you're not a member of our Discord, link to that is in the description down below. You will find me on the right-hand side in red. PM me. I'm more than happy to send you a copy of this if you want to play with it for yourself. And what we've done is I've put on here the sourcing, and I've only factored in doing one chest of the individual chests. So the mega chests that I've just shown you from the X-Borg faction store, I'm only factoring in doing a single pull. Now, as I said, the Section 31 is a daily refine. Obviously, I've said that. And then the G4 mega chest and the G5 mega chest and the G6 mega chest, they are on 5-day cooldown. So what I've done is I've converted the 20, 30, 40. I've converted them into daily drips just to allow us to get what you can get total daily as a G4 player is 14 Dolomide particles. G5 players can get 20, and then G6 players can get 28 Dolomide particles. And what this little table allows you to do is to put in how many Dolomide particles you want to work with. And we're going to talk about 1200 because if you remember from Silver's sheet, the majority of levels cost 1200 Dolomide particles to unlock. And I think this is going to amaze you. I think you're going to be quite chuffed with this. This is going to show you how many days per level of prime that you are going to be get for free from grinding and by following this method. So G4 players, what it's saying to us, okay, over here on the right hand side, it's telling us that a G4 player can get a level of a prime every 85 days. Less than every 3 months you are going to get a free prime, and that prime, best in the world, think about it, it's $100, pounds, rupees, whatever your currency is. Yeah, $100, £100 or equivalent, and you're going to be able to do that in less than 3 months as a G4 player by taking control of this method and doing it for yourself. As a G5 player, it's going to take you 2 months. It's going to take you 60 days because you're getting 20 a day if you're pulling the G4 and the G5 mega chest. And if you are a G6 player, 42 days, less than a month and a half per level of prime. And I think that is amazing. Now, you need to be employing this technique. You need to be using it because free primes are not given out very often, and they will really make a huge difference to your game. So now I'm going to talk about is what priority do you do these in? We're going to be getting these in such mass quantities now, aren't we? Now that I've shown you how to do it. which ones should we go for? Let's take a look at Silver's sheet again, and then we'll decide which order we think that we should be going in order to do this. Right, here they are again. This is the list of all of the different researches that you can unlock using these precious Dolomide particles that we've just taught you how to be able to source. Now, the first one that I'm going to lean towards is prime efficient ship parts, prime efficient ship engineering. I know that's two, and I only said one. What those do, so it's the third and fourth one down on the list, they reduce the costs of your ship upgrades for both parts and for materials and titanium on the second one. This is found, I'm not going to show you where every single one is, but this one is super important. This one is absolutely top of my list as one of the biggest priorities. Now, you can obviously choose the priority for you. I'm just going to go through a few honourable mentions that I think that you should focus on. So in your station tree, you can see here prime efficient ship parts and prime efficient ship engineering. Easy for me to say, put your teeth back in. And what this does, the ship parts, does what it says on the tin. It reduces all of the ship parts for all grades of ship by a percentage. The bottom one, ship engineering, is reducing the cost of titanium and dilithium, including sigma. So for G6 players, including sigma costs and all material costs, crystal, gas and ore for ship components. Now, pending what grade you are will probably determine which one I would suggest focusing on. The big issue in G4 has always been ship parts. So I would say that would be your key focus. Once you start getting to G5 and G6, it starts to become titanium, which might then lean you towards more the engineering front. But ship parts, again, upper end of G5 and even in G6, ship parts are also an issue. Now, if you're a G4 player, amazing. If you're a G4 player, it's going to take you months, if not a year, 18 months to get up into the 60s range. Now that you've got sourcing for these primes and you understand it now, I hasten to say you are going to be able to pretty much max these two out before you get anywhere near the G6 arena, and that's amazing. Even if you're low-end G5, I bet low-end G5 up into G6, I bet that's over a year. And you think, let's go back to our super crude spreadsheet. If you've got a year and it's 60 days too, you're going to be able to get 6 levels of these primes for absolutely free. Now, one thing again, I will stress, the first 5 levels of these two primes, actually only cost about the same as all of the rest of the levels. So the first 5 levels cost 1,200, and then it's 1,200 per level after level 5, if I remember correctly. So the first 5 levels you're going to be able to get in, for one of them in 60 days, you're going to be able to get level 5 on both of these in 120 days if you're a G5 player. Amazing, honestly, absolutely outstanding. But these, I think, are your absolutely key focuses and what you should go to first. I want to show you really quickly what they can do, and to do that, I'm going to quickly show you Spock's Club. Okay, so this is my Spock's Club, and I haven't gone crazy. I've chosen an auger. I've chosen a G3 epic ship, just to literally to illustrate a point. And we're going to look at the uncommon. Now, the biggest uncommon for an auger is obviously uncommon ore. So the actual cost for me to take this from, let me take everything off, to go from tier 1, I've just built it, all the way through to max. Uncommon, it would cost me 10,270. 10,270. Now, let's say, for example, that I've put that with none of those researches in. If we change both of those, 10,270, change them both to level 5, it takes us down to 7,091. It saves us 3,000 uncommon. Now, when you was a G3 player, how hard was it to get 3,000 uncommon? That's huge. Say you take them up to level 7. So from 10,000 plus, take them to level 7, which are actually where mine are at now. 10,000 plus comes down to 5,058. It's halved the cost. And remember, this is just on one ship. This is going to affect every single ship currently in the game. And I've just halved the cost by getting them to level 7. Total cost of Dolomide to get both to level 7 is going to be, there is 6 levels of the prime. Okay, so 6 levels of the prime, so that's 6 times the 1,200. Let's say it's going to cost you 7,200 Dolomide. Let's use that as a rough example. Let's pull back up our calculators. If you want to get 7,200 to get everything to level 7, that's a rough cost. It's going to take you about a year and a half as a G4 player to get up there. Will it take you a year and a half to get up to G5? Potentially. 360 days. It's pretty much exactly a year to get both of them to tier 7 when you're a G5 player, and 257 days as a G6 player. I think that pretty much is multiple levels of prime. It's absolutely huge. It makes a massive difference, and I'm going to show you one more example. Right, next off, we're going to take a look at a pylon, and we're going to look at trying to take it from tier 1 all the way up to tier 7. So we're going to take off the efficiencies, and we're going to see how many parts it needs. Let's use uncommon parts, because they're a bottleneck at the lower end of G4, are they not? They're a huge bottleneck. Obviously, it becomes rare parts a bit later on, but tier 7 pylon, reasonable level. It's going to cost us 116,000 uncommon interceptor parts. What does that do if we change the ship parts up to level 5? 116,000 becomes 93,000, so save you about what, 23,000 up to level 7. It's going to take us from, remember, 116,000 that's with all my current researches that I've got somewhere else as well. Obviously your amounts will differ. I'm just showing you the value of this one individual prime down to 73,180 from 116,000. It's a massive drop. It's a huge drop, massive time saver. When you get to the rare state as well, when you're needing rare parts, they are like rocking horse poop to try and get hold of. So massively huge, and I think they are definitely your first #1 priority. Let's go back to Silver's sheet, and I'll give you a couple more honourable mentions of the ones that I think that you should focus on. Right, back in here, my next one. Okay, you may look at this and you may think, well, what do some of these even do? Let's quickly fly through it. Prime Defiant ability efficiency means it costs less of your Defiant juice to be able to boost it. Shield held boost, obviously boosting your shields. Prime Structure, that is a hull-based research, so improving your hull strength, not bad. Select Ship Sustainability. What that one does is that reduces the efficiency on parts for things like your Fisher, your Titan, your Cerritos, I think is in there, your Mantis. It's like a blanket reduction on parts required to upgrade a variety of specialty ships. Now, again, if you're just entering the G4 world and you've got tier 2, tier 3 specialty ships, that could be something that's a big priority for you. Do you know what I mean? Make everything cheaper for all of it for relation to your specialty ships. Fleet Refinery Reward, that adds a daily refinery claim for you to get uncommon, rare and epic fleet commander credits. I don't think that's something that's super huge to you. If you're not getting epics now, it means that you can't even spend them anywhere, because until you get to that level, you just don't need them. For me, that is an absolute write-off, to be honest. The Fleet Refinery Reward, not something that I think that you should focus on. Syndicate Spike is increasing your daily drip of Syndicate XP, which I'm going to go through again. Obviously, we've explained what the efficient engineering and ship parts ones do. I think we may have missed the Fleet Readiness. Fleet Readiness is giving you efficiency on skill points for upgrading your skills of your commanders, and isolytic damage and defense boosts are self-explanatory, as I mentioned before, increasing your isolytic damage output and increasing your isolytic mitigation, as it were, to give it an easy way to mention it. So the other one that I'm going to really mention is something that I think is super important, is Syndicate Spike. Now, what does Syndicate Spike do? So Syndicate Spike is one of 2 primes that boost your daily acquisition of Syndicate XP. And when I talk about your daily acquisition, I mean just your blanket acquisition. So it's the one that is right at the top in your Syndicate tree when you click it, and you get a daily redeem bundle in here boosting this. The amount that you get from here is dependent on your Syndicate level, and the bonus for this Dolomide research is a massive 400%. It's 400% bonus. So whatever that you've got, whatever you get per day from this, in essence, just times it by 5. So at the moment, I get 1,200 at Syndicate 37. I will then move to 6,000 per day just from this one claim. That is huge. It's ginormous, and that for me would be the next priority once you've worked on your ship engineering and your ship parts efficiency primes. Now, I would understand why somebody may get them, say, to level 5, the 2 ship primes, and then get this one and then go back to working on the primes, because Syndicate, I have massive value in that. I really like to work on my Syndicate, and it's something that I think everybody should be working on as a priority and as a focus. So, diving back to Silver's sheet, Really quickly, I'm going to talk about a really terrible key on the left-hand side. Let me explain it. The 3 with red crosses, they are your go-tos. They are your absolutely key priorities. The ship primes and the syndicate spike. Then we move on to the blue crosses, in my opinion. You go for the isolytic damage and the isolytic defense. Isolytic is becoming such a key part of the game. It is so important to you. Then move on to the orange ones. We've got 2 crosses, which I think you should work on, shield and hull health, as much as they've been diluted by the additions of other buildings and researches and things over the past few months. They are still good researches and worth having. The one that I've put the wavy orange line on, this one here, that is going to be very dependent on your ops level and your progression through the specialty ships that it helps. And the 3 that I think are a little bit dud just have grey lines on them. That's my general key, and that's where I think that I would focus my thing. So go red, blue, orange, grey. That's what I do it. Doesn't mean anything. I like it. You know, I like to do things a little bit differently. I should have maybe done them in numbers. But I like my colours. I like my little funky crosses. And that's where we'll leave that. So, they are the Dolomide Primes. There's how to access it. If you want access to any of these sheets, if you want my funky little calculator, if you want this, let me know. I'm more than happy to send you it. There's absolutely no problem in the slightest. Obviously, Silver Sheet is accessible on our Discord in the Silver Sheets channel. Please share this out with your teams. Give me any feedback that you've got down in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that stuff that you know what to do. Please download the podcast. Please check out the podcast. Brits and Yanks Talk Trek. Link to that as well is down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And remember, guys, that absolutely everything is better with lube. Take care. Have a wonderful day.